Berlin mornings were always brisk, even in spring. Alia pulled her jacket tighter as she made her way through the crowded U-Bahn station in Neukölln. The city was awake, but she had been up for hours. Another double shift at the cafe awaited. Her fingers were sore, and her eyes heavy with sleepless nights. It wasn't just the tuition she was paying. Her parents, living just a few stops away, had been relying on her since the pandemic hit. Her father, once a taxi driver, had stopped working. Her mother said cleaning jobs weren't enough. "Alia, we can't pay the electricity this month." Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, desperate and trembling. "I'll send something tonight, Mum," Alia had replied. And she always did, even if it meant skipping meals or walking instead of taking the train. Despite the exhaustion, she managed a polite smile behind the counter at the cafe. She had memorized every regular's order. Her Schmidt wanted oat milk. The twins from Kreuzberg wanted extra foam. Her boss, stern and cold, never said thank you. Yet none of that compared to the weariness she felt when opening her banking app. The numbers never looked right. Her income vanished faster than she could count it. But she told herself it was worth it. Her parents had nothing, and they were family. Later that evening, as she scrolled absent-mindedly through Instagram, her thumb froze mid-swipe. Her sister, Rania, had posted a story. A boomerang of champagne glasses. A caption that read, "Mom and Dad treating themselves. Well deserved." Alia stared. The background was unmistakable Grill Royal, one of Berlin's most expensive steak restaurants. Her heart began to pound. Her parents had told her they couldn't afford groceries last week. She had sent 300 euros. She hadn't bought new shoes in 2 years. She refreshed the story, watched it again, then again. Her hands started to tremble. They were laughing, dressed in new clothes, steaks glistening under the candlelight. Everything she had denied herself, there it was, on their table. Her smile from earlier vanished. The next morning, Alia didn't speak. She couldn't. Her body moved automatically, train, cafe, orders, but her mind stayed locked on that video. She didn't confront them right away. Instead, she tried to reason with herself. Maybe it was a gift? Maybe someone else paid? But deep down, she knew. Rania never tagged others. The champagne, the clothes, the restaurant, it was all too perfect, too planned. That evening, she called home. Her father answered. "Hey, Habibti. Everything okay?"
His voice was calm.
"Normal. Too normal." Alia hesitated.
"Yeah.
Just checking in." They talked about the weather, the news. Empty conversation filling the space between them. No mention of the dinner. No mention of the money. When she hung up, Alia sat in the silence of her apartment. Her heater hadn't worked in a week. The landlord said they'd come, but no one did. She looked at the stack of bills on her desk. Unopened. Unread. Suddenly, they felt heavier than ever. The next week, Alia passed by Grill Royal after her shift. The place shimmered with warm lights and quiet elegance. She had never been inside. Curiosity became impulse. She walked in. "Hello. I think my parents might have been here recently. I'm trying to surprise them. Could you check a reservation under Karim or Layla?" The hostess typed quietly. A pause. Then a nod.
"Yes.
Layla Karim. Last Saturday. Party of 3. Alia blinked.
3?
Could I see the receipt? I'd like to know what to surprise them with next time." The hostess smiled and handed her a printed slip. 3 steaks. 2 bottles of champagne. A chocolate soufflé. Total, for 126 euros. Her legs trembled. She thanked the hostess and left. Outside, the air cut through her like ice. They had spent almost everything she'd sent in one night. The U-Bahn ride home felt endless. Every screech of the tracks echoed in her skull. Around her, Berlin kept moving. People laughed, typed, dozed off. But inside Alia, something cracked. She had spent nights crying over missed payments. She had said no to every little joy, new shoes, haircuts, even a coffee on the way to class. And they had spent her sacrifice on wine and steak. For the first time, her love felt like weakness. She closed her eyes, but her father's voice echoed in her head. We're struggling, Habibti. Just a little help. How many times had he said that line? How many times had she believed it? 3 days later, she went to visit them. She didn't warn them. She needed to see their faces. Her mother opened the door. Alia, what a surprise. She smiled too quickly. Her father sat on the sofa, watching a new flat screen. Rania waved from the kitchen, nails freshly done. Alia stepped inside. The apartment smelled like cinnamon and money. You said the electricity was cut last month, she said quietly. Her mother hesitated. Yes, but it came back. Someone helped us. Alia pulled out the receipt. Folded.
Creased.
Heavy. You mean me? Silence. Her father stood up. Alia, you're misunderstanding. I'm not. I've seen the videos. I've read the receipt. I've heard the lies. Her voice didn't shake, but her heart did. Her mother looked down. We just wanted one night. One good night. At my expense? Rania crossed her arms. You always act like you're the savior. No, Alia said, stepping back. I act like a daughter who believed you. She stopped sending money. Not a message. Not a transfer. The silence that followed was louder than any fight. They didn't call. Not after the confrontation. Not even for her birthday. The cafe became her refuge. She worked longer hours. Stayed later. But emptiness crept in. Not because of the money. Because of the betrayal. She'd lost the image of the people she thought she knew. And that grief was heavier than any debt. One afternoon, her phone buzzed. A message from Rania. Hope you're happy. Dad's sick. Mum's stressed. You caused this. Alia stared at the screen. Her hands cold. She typed, then deleted. Then typed again. You caused this. I just stopped paying for it. She hit send. Then she turned off her phone. Alia walked past a mirror in the cafe's restroom. She stopped. Looked. She barely recognized herself. Dark circles.
Tight jaw.
Tired eyes. But beneath that strength, she had been surviving. Alone. Working.
Studying.
Pushing forward. Not because she wanted glory. Because she had no other choice. She wasn't cold. She was burned. Burned by love that asked too much and gave too little. She began writing. At night. After shifts. In her tiny apartment. Letters to her parents. To Rania. To herself. She never sent them. But each word was a release. I wanted to believe you. I wanted to feel like part of something bigger than me. You made me feel small. I don't hate you, but I don't trust you anymore. In the end, the hardest part wasn't the money. It was letting go of the version of family she had built in her head. 1 year later, Alia walked along the spree. The city still hummed, but she had changed. She'd graduated. She had a new job in Kreuzberg. She no longer skipped meals. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mother. Just 2 words. We're sorry. She read it once. Then again. And smiled. Not because everything was healed, but because she finally had peace. Not from them, but from herself.